are going to talk about why the INTJ sucks at yoga. And the reason that they suck at yoga is because they like to stay in their heads too much. What you will hear, advice for the NI types, the INFJs and the INTJs, is that they need to get into their body more. And we're going to discuss what that actually means in some activities that can truly help unlock that in your body feeling. So the one clarification that I always make up front is that we're not just talking about any physical activity. You can't just get into your body by going for a walk or swimming or going for a brisk jog. That is not getting into your body. We're talking about fully immersive activities that you cannot do anything else but be in that activity. And thanks to my wife, I first got into stretching, but then from stretching, I got into yoga, and I've taken, I think, my second or third yoga class, and that is really getting into your body. And why I think it's really getting into your body is because it's painful. She doesn't agree that pain is a positive thing, but there's a lot of awkwardness. There's a lot of weird positions you're in. There's a lot of strains to the point where you can't be getting in your brain or thinking about your classic grocery list or what you're going to do tomorrow or your plans for work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree with the pain. Like, yoga is not intended to be painful, so I would disagree with that. Right. You're just like not flexible yet. But I would agree with like the balances, for example, in yoga, or some of the funky, awkward positions. I think they're intentionally challenging. We can use that word, challenging, because like if you are thinking of your grocery list or you're spacing out or whatever, your mind goes somewhere else, you'll just fall on your face. Like, you know, so you have to, it's not just, you know, like you were saying, when you're jogging, like you are using your muscles and your body, but your mind could be somewhere else while you're jogging, processing something that happened that day or whatever. With yoga, like if you're doing that, it's not going to work out. Right. You're going to fall.
It's not going to work out because you have these activities that allow you to get into a flow state, like swimming or biking or running, where you can get in a repetitive rhythm, which allows you to forget your environment and then go back to thinking about something. So I think there are a lot of these performance thinkers that say, like, you know, go for a run, go for a walk, clear your mind. I don't think for the NI type that helps clear their mind. I just puts them in a different space where they're still going to focus on the same subject. So the thing about yoga is, at least for me, at least the beginner, is that the stretching, the focusing on your breathing. See, it's like it's doing a motion and focusing on your breathing. There's nothing, that's in your body. There's no other way to disconnect from it. So I want to make that subtle point that it's not just physical. It needs to be like, think about if you're throwing a baseball back and forth. If you forget and your mind goes somewhere else, the ball hits you in the face. You have to be engaged, whole brain on that activity.
Or like free climbing, right? Like if you fall, you're really going to get hurt. So that probably is one reason why some climbers like to do that kind of thing. Like it forces you to live specifically in that exact moment, like moment to moment. Like, where is my next hand grip going to go, you know? Or I don't know, whitewater rafting, for example, even though it's not like as quote physical activity as you would think. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you still get a workout from rowing and stuff, but you're constantly looking at the rapids that are coming up and problem solving and like how to deal with that. You can't just space out, you're going to fall out of the boat, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the good way to distinguish the difference. And so there's activities that I have talked about and that I know work, and even in, you know, type development books, he'll talk about unlocking NI, like how to get these random insights, like essentially how to get to the aha moment is what we learn, which is like, you know, the shower thoughts, or something where you're like, you know, doing the dishes, cleaning, vacuuming. Those are things that unlock NI insights, but it's that flow state again. I'm not talking about that. What I'm really talking about is that is not what yoga does. True immersive activity does not even allow the possibility. It truly disconnects from the NI space, and almost like it just allows it to completely recharge. It's like you're not working while plugged in. You're like completely like taking the battery out and just letting it sit and cool off, which is what I think yoga does better than most things, pretty much anything I've found so far.
You get completely out of your head. Like, okay, your NI is great. It's a gift to you, but it's also a detriment as your wife.
Right.
If I make like a loud noise in your opinion, you get really upset because you were in your head and you were thinking about some sort of idea that got interrupted, right? So in yoga, I mean, there's not going to be like loud noises or anything, but I think what you're saying is that because you're multitasking so much, you're using different parts of your body and your brain, like to focus on the breathing and then the stretching and then the balancing and like all the things at once.
Yeah.
That the NI stops just for a minute, and there's some quiet there. And the shower thoughts are different. Like sometimes you do have brilliant ideas that come to you in the shower, but that's a different state of mind that you're in versus being immersed in yoga. Yeah.
That's it's a difference between like meditating with like white noise or some sort of sound or repetitive sound, and then being under, I think the state of stress helps growth there. Like being under a little bit of tension there helps in a way, like in a different way that like being in a totally comfortable, quiet, meditative, completely relaxed setting will.
I think it's like a clearing or a reset. You could kind of look at it. It still benefits your NI in a sense, but it's a different thing. Like kind of like you said, you unplugged, right? So it literally clears everything out, and then it can create space for new ideas. Not while you're doing the yoga. Your new ideas are not coming while you're doing the yoga. But your new ideas will come later in the day because your brain has kind of been cleared out and scrubbed.
Yeah, that's it. And I think for the INTJ that's always looking for an angle for personal development or like life hacks or growth hacks or brain hacks, whatever you want to call it, this is the type of thing that works. And there was a level of apprehension. Deanna's been going to yoga for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. And I was just like, always, that's not me. And I guess I was fearing using my inferior function SE in a way that wasn't fun, like playing basketball or soccer or sports, because that's where we think, oh, that's using your SE, you're immersed in an activity. But in reality, it's not as close to truly using SE like yoga is.
Do you think that people who tend towards yoga naturally are sensors?
I wouldn't say so, but I don't know. Like,
I would say, because I've been around yoga people for a couple years now, that I feel like we do have all different types of backgrounds, but the commonality is that we had something that bothered us, let's say some sort of anxiety or whatever, and it gets us out of our head and it gets us into our body and it helps us process our anxiety and like keep that, like especially if you do it every day, like it just keeps you more level. So I would say maybe we're not all sensors, but we do all benefit from what you're saying as an INTJ, what you get out of it.
Right. That's totally correct. Every type will get something different. The NI types will get something different than the SI types. And there's in terms of just like physical performance, like I had read a book by David Goggins called Can't Hurt Me, and he was a like world-class runner and pull-up like champion. And late in his life, he was getting stretched by a personal trainer, and he was like, well, your legs are as like tight as bolts, as like telephone poles. Like that is the level of tightness. And when he learned how to stretch, his life changed. So Deanna's got me into stretching, and like, yes, I feel so much better, like sleep better, just getting a good stretch and just a little bit past your comfort zone has been for an INTJ like one of the most important activities of my life.
Well, you can look at it also as preparing you for the future. Like you're preventing from injury, you know. I mean, if you fall a funny way and you're not flexible,
oh God,
things are going to snap, you know? So, I mean, that's where it came from at first. Like you were having some back pain and whatever. But I think that everyone has their own, you know, journey in that. And that breached the gap, like starting with stretching to then try yoga.
Right.
And there's so many different levels of yoga. And what I love about yoga is they're constantly like saying, option 1, you can stay here. You know, option 2, you could challenge yourself and try this. Option 3. So everyone in the room can take the class and kind of just, it meets them where they're at. And you realize that you have so much potential to increase and get even further into that, you know, kind of yogi state or whatever and clear your mind.
Yeah, I think there might be, from the INTJ's point of view, reluctance because of that yogi like mentality of like just kind of, you know, these weird NF types that are like, you know, hyper into astrology, and they just
bunch of tattoos always.
Tattoos, and just like you think like, oh, they're weird people, but like, for example, I mean, people in the community know Dario Nardi, and he literally wrote a book called Jung on Yoga, and Carl Jung wrote a book on astrology and yoga and the tantric practices. So like it's tied into our community. I just think from INTJ's point of view, they don't see the like TE benefit. Like that doesn't seem like an efficient way to get stronger or better. I'll just work out or I'll run. And I think that that's somehow we've missed that as INTJs.
You do get strong in yoga. I mean, don't be mistaken. You can get like a beast in yoga. But I don't know, you're right. Maybe it's not the most efficient, like it's just like lifting reps.
Right.
For me as a TE user, I look at it as efficient, not in getting strong, but in the combination of the two things. So some people would say, okay, I got to work out for my physical health, and then I have to meditate for my mental health. Well, to me, that's like 2 hours of work. Yeah. Now I can do 1 hour of work at yoga and get my meditation and my exercise at the same time. That's how I view it as a TE user. That's
like true maximizing time, which Deanna is better at using TE than I am. So here's a question for the audience. So do you do yoga? What is your type? And then if you do, why do you do yoga? What has been the benefits for you, and why did you start to do it? So thanks so much for being here. If you do like, if you don't like also, and then subscribe as well.
Yes, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Hit the notification bell if you want. I mean, if you don't, then don't.
That's all right. But thank you for being here.
All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
I tried to live without you.